everyone, welcome to this training tutorial. It's the first one of the series and is going to show you how to start the F-16 and get accustomed to the I would say main systems that you need to start up following the ram start procedures that we apply, following the 3 sweeps that you might have already read from the Falcon manual. It's important for you guys to understand that not everything is always the same when it comes to everyone's, I would say, sweeps, but it will give you the hangs of it and the basics. So let's go and deep dive into it. So the first thing we're going to do here is get the fuel pumps. So first, I would set the power to battery, test the channels for the FLCS. Put the fuel pumps to norm, which is very important. Then the air source knob must be to norm as well, so we get the cooling for the systems. And we're going to prepare the lights. So first the position lights, and then we're going to set up the master and flash. The anti-collision will come up later. We don't want to do it now because it's definitely going to be signaling to the rest of your squad that you're ready to roll, basically, and your plane is ready to start. All right, and so we're going to have the comms 1, comms 2, and backup UHF. At this stage, we're more or less ready to go. We just need to set the battery knob to main power and hit the GFS start. In order to prevent any hot starts, there are a couple of things we need to check here. The first thing being the sec warning that we need to see off before we actually start injecting fuel. So in theory, the throttle here has a latch, and the latch basically puts the throttle into idle position. So currently we're still in cutoff position, and we're going to wait for the RPM to raise up to 20% minimum. So the sec just disappeared, but I'm going to give it a couple more RPMs so we're sure this is going to be okay for the ram start. Alright, there we go. I'm injecting fuel, as you can see. I've pressed the latch, and now putting back the throttle to idle. The RPM raising again. Monitor the temperature. You must check that it doesn't go, I would say, over 800. If it goes over that, you are probably into a hot start, and you should probably straight away go to cut off in order to prevent any damages, extended damages to the engine. So the GFS has stopped, as you can hear. And we're stabilized now at 70%. Now, as you can probably imagine, there's a couple of things that we need to do in order to light up the rest of the systems. So, firstly the ECM pod, landing systems, HMCS, and I'm going to do DMS down long in order to remove the cross, as you can see here. Now I can go and lower the canopy, power up the TWA. Now missile warning systems, jammer, and this one to standby. Alright, now we're going to put this one to handoff, the HUD to power, the hard points, FCR for the radar, and radar altimeter to standby. We now need to touch that right now, depending. This is as you wish for this one, so any preference you've got there, go ahead. Alright, MMC, DCFC map, data link, and EGI. So at this stage we're starting the alignment procedure. We must not touch the engines so the plane doesn't move, because it's important for the alignment to succeed that the plane stays where it is. So right now everything is getting aligned. We're waiting for the DED to come alive, and once it's alive, we'll power up the well, load up the data cartridge. So this is the case now. As you can see, the alignment process is starting. DT, we're going to load that up. So loading. There we go. It has loaded, and you don't really see now the map because as long as the alignment is not over, the map will not display. Alright, so we've got now the master IFF to standby. Those are the new systems introduced in 4.3.4, and it's important not to forget those because if you do, well, you might get into trouble into blue on blue and stuff like this. Alright, so now we've loaded up the DTE, we can go from the comms backup to the main UFC channels. So I'm going to do now return. And as you can see, I am now with the right channels loaded. VHF is the default one, so I'm going to stick to that. And I'm going to power up and have UHF2, which is the ground. Because now there is obviously an ATC systems and you need to respect the comms ladder. I strongly advise that you check the briefing before you jump in the plane to see what are the different comms channels that are set up in order not to to get confused by all of that. So there we go. We've got the UHF set, and we're going to do a couple things. I have not done something, which is the EPU check, but we're not going to do it here because right now it's not simulated. And if I wanted to do the EPU safety check, in this case I would have done that before powering all the systems. So before you go up and load up and start rolling and all of that, I will strongly advise that you contact the ground and remove the EPU safety pin, for example. So this is the case now. And once we're ready and the alignment process is over, we'll go ahead and remove the chokes. The radar is now okay, and we've got that ready. And I strongly suggest that you go to reset on the FLCS, disconnect on the trims, checking that everything is aligned properly. And now we're going to do the bid tests on the FLCS. So it's running. If I go external view, and you will see the surface is moving now. So it's going to enter a bid sequence. The bid sequence basically is an integrated test on all the surfaces that we've got, and it's going to test all the controls to see how they react. So this is a preset sequence. Everything is known, so the ground units can actually check with you if everything is moving as expected. The controls will actually calibrate and check all the surfaces because this is important, as most of the plane is, I would say the plane is naturally unstable. The FLCS is quite essential to get yourself ready to, or at least to get yourself in a stable situation when it comes to maintaining a good flight with the plane. Alright, so now we've got the systems bit test check. You see it's off and we got no warning. If we had a warning, we would see a fail here, which is not the case. Alright, so we're going to have a couple things done. So I'm pressing the T key in order to request a couple of things. If I had the information in terms of the Victor channel for the ATIS on the airfield, then I would go and check the comms in comms2 and check my Victor channel. So I would go comms2 and enter here the channel channel frequency, or at least the frequency of this that I want to monitor, and press enter at the end, and that would set me up to the right Victor channel for the ATIS. And coming back to the preset one, I would just go back and type here 15, and that would set me up on the Victor channel that is preset for my data cartridge. Alright, so as you can see, meanwhile we've got the alignment process that is over, and we're going to set this one to nav. So now you can see now the flight plan, and this is important because it means that the plane is properly aligned. I'm going to request a QNH.
Falcon 11 Amy QNH 1037.
So I'm on the millibar altimeter, so 1037. Alright, barely over the water, which is the case for the airfield. If you check the charts, obviously it would match the 40 feet something that we are kind of showing up right now. Alright, and then we would want to check for the active runways and things like this. So I would definitely request for the takeoff runway.
Falcon 11 Amy, runway 02 left for takeoff.
02. And the next one being the wind.
Falcon 11 Amy, 110 at 4 knots.
Alright, so 1104 knots. This is very low wind, so we shouldn't be really bothered by that. So I forgot to do the tests. For the fuel, you see everything's fine. And now there are a couple of things we need to check here. So we're going to check the faults and tests. I'm going to clear that out and making sure that the fault display here is not displaying anything anymore. I still have the seat not arm check here that is lit up, but this is normal, as we are going to arm this one before we enter the runway. So now we're ready for to roll basically. In the plane is in the state we call green jet. I'm going to pull up the taxi lights and the anti-call. So I'm now telling my wingman that I am ready to roll, and that covers, I would say, the essential of the rem start procedure. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop on the Falcon Lounge and ask anything you might need in order to understand what's happening. Until then, well, hope you will find this video useful, and see you next time for another tutorial. Until then, bye bye.